In the first match of the day, Modern Most Wanted. Mess up for a mess up. In the first match of the day, Most Wanted dropped to the challenger team known as Star Boys. Here they are one more time, but this time they have to go against the big boys themselves, Elevate, their fellow console league team. We'll see if they can find a win.
And this will definitely be a very telling matchup as far as Star Wars is concerned, considering how dominant Elevate have been looking as of recently. And so I think that if Star Wars can fare very well against this team, that'll be a very sure sign of how they're going to fare for the rest of this competition.
Yeah, they look really good in game one. Let's get to the picks and bans rather quickly here as we continue our North American relegations. Elevate and Most Wanted. This could be a regular season game. We'll see if it works out just like the regular season. With that Hobwall ban coming in hot, Most Wanted not the same team as the regular season. Paul from PC still there.
I said Star Boys like multiple times, and I see
where you're going.
It's all over. It's out there, but the intentions were good.
Exactly. Star Boys is the team that beat Most Wanted as we started our North American, so that's where that thought process is at. Zeus, Robin, see you later. They're just really strong at the moment. Odin. Elevate just didn't like playing against Odin. We've seen them ban this out numerous times, and then Hobwat specifically for the Hunter player Paul from PC. So Cernunnos will be the first pick here, the Hunter of choice and the God of choice for first pick. Bellona and Cabrakan, the Most Wanted selection.
I'm kind of surprised that we still haven't seen a Kern ban all day today, and yet instead teams are permitting it to go through, leaving open a lot of other sought-after picks, such as the Chang'e, the Cabrakan, the Bellonas even. So you can already tell with Most Wanted's draft that they're looking to, they still have a little bit of flexibility available with the Cabrakan. They could still opt to put it into support as opposed to the jungle role.
Sure.
But I feel as though the setup that they already have available to them is a very solid front line.
Hades getting so much play lately. A little bit of a love in last patch notes. All of a sudden, bam, he's there in every game.
Well, this was an original god. Aggro actually touched on it earlier when we first saw Most Wanted play, and that this was one of Clow's old OG signature gods. And so for him to be bringing it back now, I think is the perfect time. Yeah,
I mean, Clow has a very strong identity in his role. Sometimes the god pools can sort of get lost in, well, whatever's meta. But Clow will play the Isis, Poseidon, Zhangqi, Hades, Clow back, no matter what happens. And so the Hades is going to come out. The Chalk and Osiris bans from Most Wanted. They don't want to see Elevate's solo laner off to a good start, and Elevate opt to ban out Bats and Medusa, leaving Most Wanted with Susano. Personally, I think Susano might be stronger than Bats.
Might be stronger than bots. I prefer the mobility of Susano as opposed to that of Pumbats, and I feel as though he is a little bit more setup guaranteed, considering that he does have the ability for pulling in, which is very nice when you think about what Most Wanted are going for here. They want the burst all-in potential onto one god in particular, and if they have the lock-in from the Cabrakan, from the Bellona ultimate potentially, and the Hades especially, I mean, every single time, you can never know when you're going to get trapped inside of his Pillar of Agony, but that's a little unexpected spice.
Xbalanque coming out. Honestly, if I saw a weird Hunter, I'd like to see a Cupid. A Cripple Field on a Hades ultimate is not fun. But Xbalanque going to be the god of choice here for Most Wanted. Ultra late game Hunter is what we're looking here.
The issue that I have with the Xbalanque, though, is that you're faring off against a Khepri Kern duo lane, which means you take one of the Hunters with probably some of the worst early game and throw them into a lane with amazing early game and just kind of expecting it to go over well. I'm not certain that this is going to be ideal for Most Wanted, simply because even if Paul isn't getting killed numerous times in the duo lane, they still have to worry about just how much jungle pressure they could potentially lose from their duo lane side.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Sleazy spend a lot of time on the long side jungle. So Xbalanque, it's a character we haven't seen in a while. Late game, does very well. He gets basically 30 free power if he plays things right, and he gets himself some kills, 6 in particular. But really, what I like about Paul's selection is the ultimate. I think Xbalanque ultimate is one of the best in the game.
I can't disagree with you on that one. The setup potential that it can provide because of the darkness that's just shrouded over everyone is super difficult to deal with. Especially, it could be smart considering that Kenshin is on this Khepri, and if he can't see who he needs to revive, that could go in favor of Most Wanted.
Yeah, it's a really big play. Not only the initiation factor, but that mid-team fight ult to get rid of the Khepri ult. But that's a really big play. I didn't even think about that one, honestly. So we'll see if that is the way that Most Wanted want to play it. Clow paired up with Marsley's and Catalyyyst here. As you said, a lot of time on this character, so I think it's less about, well, Hades is good now, let me pick him up, and more just Clow bring it back.
I'm surprised to see him running with the speed buff, though. And that's not something that we see very often with mid laners, is the Hades opting for the speed. But
yeah,
I suppose this time around he just felt as though it'd be safer for him.
I think he just picked it up, Taco. I think he just picked it up to be Clow. I think he saw that his red buff was gone. He said, I'm going to get some sort of buff. Get out of here, Catalyyyst. And he picked it up himself. We'll see how it works out, though. Clow and Most Wanted did not have their best showing at LAN. I actually thought they were a stronger team online in the past than they've been playing recently, so we'll see if LAN helped them out the way it helped Elevate out as well.
Elevate, I think that the LAN really brought this team together as a whole and was a really strong moment for that team overall to get some real chemistry going.
Yeah.
And it's definitely shown in their gameplay. They all seem as though they're a lot more confident than what they were before starting the LAN.
And also, I mean, not for nothing, look, this duo lane, Flat Earth Kenshin and Michael Checo, have just been memed by the community for a long time. And I think, you know, internally you're kind of thinking one thing and the other. Then they come out to LAN and they put on a great performance. They were one of the best teams here at LAN. And I think that sort of, yeah, you know what? We're real. Like, we're actually a part of this scene. We're actually going to be doing this. Watch out for Elevate. And I think that was the moment that not just the other players, but more importantly themselves started to realize, hey, we've got something here. We got to kind of stick to it because we can actually be something important. So I think that LAN was very, very important for what Elevate want to do in the future.
Hey, I mean, sometimes if you just flatten out your competition, you're looking pretty solid for the rest of the time period.
I'm going to toss you off the edge of the earth. I swear, Taco. I caught that. You tried to float it past me. It's not going to happen. I get Tolly. Now I get you. Jeez. Next, they're going to have me cast with aggro.
Tom, there's something you need to know.
Oh, no.
In case you haven't seen it yet, but this is something that I'm sure the Elevate haven't seen quite yet, is Clow on the Hades mid. And I think just in general, a lot of teams are kind of unfamiliar with this Hades mid. It's something that hasn't really been around for a long time. Like you mentioned,
yeah.
It's starting to make a resurgence because of the buff that Hades saw recently. But even with that in mind, you have to also just consider that Hades can just deal a ton of damage.
He does a lot of work. Here's going to be the invade on the speed buff and the ultimate out of Marsley, looking for the kill on the Delnyy, who pops up into the extra life, so no big deal, still 0-0. But I think the Hades is interesting because when was the last time Hades was considered a quote-unquote meta pick? And I'm going back. I don't think that there was ever a time in the console league that Hades was considered a meta pick. And then even going back to the world of PC, you know, way back when, you got to look before launch tournament. You're talking beta.
I don't know. I mean, you've got the guys like Divios and stuff who've experimented a fair bit, but I would never really consider it a meta pick so much as a niche pick where you want to just try and find the right moment for it. And for Clow, what I like about the selection is while Elevate has dashes to escape from the Hades ultimate, there's still plenty of setup that could be provided due to the Cabrakan walls inside of the Hades. If they catch anybody off guard with that combination, throw in a Xbalanque where a team's not really trying to move during the blackout, and that's pretty rough stuff to deal with.
Yeah, Xbalanque. So the old combination was Xbalanque and Bacchus. Drop the Intoxicate, and then Xbalanque ultimate comes through, and it's next to impossible to not move while you're intoxicated, so it's an auto stun. Kind of the same idea here with the Hades ultimate. You get Hades ulted on, and then the lights go out, and you're going to be stunned because you're being drawn in towards the middle like a Poseidon whirlpool. So because of that, Nice little interaction. Same deal with the tremors from Catalyyyst. You can't stop moving, so you're going to be auto-stunned if that's the way Most Wanted play these combos. Should be interesting to keep an eye on to see how much interactivity these abilities really have in practice versus on paper.
I do feel as though Most Wanted's draft certainly requires a lot more execution than what you're going to be looking for out of Elevate.
Oh, yeah.
Elevate's pretty standard. You drop your Chang'e ultimate, you drop your current ult, and then you've got Thoth to follow up with everything else. Delny's just going to stand in front of people, and Kenshin's going to be in the back trying to make sure that he can get his buttons off properly for the revives.
Ooh, what's up, baby? I got that package.
Michael Checo. Yeah, Michael Checo on the Cernunnos is certainly going to be a part of that. And yeah, like you said, I mean, Elevate is stop that man and make oBoronic shoot him. That's like their whole thought process, and everybody else can do whatever it is your character does. Most Wanted, on the other hand, a little bit more complex. Kind of just hoping that everybody plays their character and knows the intricacies of it. Paul from PC back, making his Season 4 debut here in a relatively interesting career, I would say. Individually, very successful, but his teams never really finding themselves on the top end of competition. So moving here into Season 4, taking the spot back on Most Wanted. We'll see if that continues or if he's able to find some wins.
Paul seems like that hunter that you pick up because you know that he's going to provide an excellent individual performance. And Marsleazy trying to get a little bit feisty there with DoctorL and the back harpies, but just going to be a safe disengage from both of them.
Yeah, Delnyy doesn't even get taken advantage of. I expected after that gank that happened, or the missed gank, to see the wraparound behind Delnyy, but not going to be in trouble.
His blue buff is, though.
Yeah, and that's kind of rough for Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong sits kind of in the middle there where you look at a character like Chang'e or Sobek, and they don't really need the blue buff as long as they play it right. And then you look at mages in general, and they kind of can't do anything if they don't have the blue buff. Sun Wukong sits in the middle where if he doesn't go for the poke, which is kind of what he does, but if he plays it conservatively, you can survive and exist, but definitely not too happy about getting his blue stolen. Blue will have vision on the left side, however. Elevate taking out the Oracle successfully. 8 minutes in. No action just yet.
And I think that that's kind of exactly where Elevate would want to be looking at these two drafts. You would imagine that Most Wanted, sure, maybe Paul's okay with the staleness of the game, but now it looks like Marsleazy's definitely tired of waiting around, and Kenshin's in a whole lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, this is the change, but Elevate show up in time. Big ultimate on a Clow. First blood from the Pillar of Agony. Big play, Hades.
And that's exactly what Clow is waiting for every single time. Forces out the dash, but oh my god, Marsleazy's health.
See ya. Yeah, Oboronic, not even a huge ultimate. The follow-up damage is really what happens. You see a big chunk thanks to the ult, and then DoctorL comes through, but then those other just coming on through the window. Big damage coming out from Oboronic right there. 1 for 1. Not in the same team fight, but we're even here in kills as we hit 9 on the clock. Right side, Jacob could be in trouble. Delnyy shows up, DoctorL as well. The ultimate forced out by both Xbalanque and the Bellona.
Jacob, he's not done quite yet. He really wanted the farm from those fire elementals, but he's just going to have to forfeit those to Elevate unless he wants to find himself potentially falling with them. Yeah,
a little bit too low to actually really fight that nonsense, so he'll go ahead and play it safe and back to base. Has to watch out, though, as he will teleport in, and that's going to be the big teleport differential between him and his opposition, if he ever actually teleports. He's just hanging out in base right now. There he is. Okay. And that's going to be a big teleport differential. About 90 seconds, over a minute between these two players. And I always really like to bring that up because the amount of plays that you can make when as a solo laner, when your teleport is up versus your opposition knowing it's down for a long time, you frequently see those plays over on the left side looking for the gold.
It will be difficult, though, for Elevate to get away with a clean Gold Fury early on, simply because their damage can be a little bit lacking at the start. You have the Kern, but
and the Thoth.
Thoth isn't necessarily packing as much of a punch onto these objectives at this stage. Though he does have the wall, which will provide a lot more for the in-hand damage, and that's always helpful for a team environment. But I don't think that they have the necessary burst at this point in time to get away with it for Most Wanted to not capitalize and just counter-engage.
Clow looking for an engage of his own. Misses, but here comes DoctorL, finds a stun. Clow finds the ultimate, and Chang'e able to just dance away until he pointed out last time we saw Hades standing still, you're just going to be a target for Oboronic's off.
Oboronic has no problems with that whatsoever either, but now with both of those ultimates expended on the side of Elevate, Most Wanted look like they want to fight.
Yeah.
They want these oracles.
Yeah, at the very least, they're going to go for the bananas. We'll see if they pick them up. Leashed and give it an Elevate.
Too many members.
Yep. Right there, just blue vision one more time still. Nice and even here in our 11th minute. Kills the same, gold the same, experience relatively the same as well. Very tight with our two Smite Console League teams trying to keep their spots, defending against the challengers who look kind of interesting this time around, actually. We have obviously these two teams, but challenging them will be Starboys, who actually wound up beating Most Wanted in game number 1, and Relevated, who, well, Elevate beat. So, Starboys, certainly a team to be on the lookout for.
Starboys seem like that new flavor of the weak kind of team for the console league. In that, I think a lot of these Xbox guys are very familiar with
Clow coming through, not able to steal it. And he gives his life. I like the shot, though, there. Coming into the dash, looking for the detonate. Wound up a little bit too late, Taco. But with the burst damage that comes out of Clow's Hades, I think if he's 2 seconds sooner, he steals that gold.
I think that's such a risky engagement, though. If anything, I would have preferred to see Most Wanted just try and have a little bit more visual awareness. They knew that the Oracles went the way of Elevates, so that you can kind of anticipate that they're going to just look for a sneaky Gold Fury. For two members of Most Wanted to be on the opposite side of the map during a Gold Fury being up, that's kind of a risky move.
Yeah, I feel that.
Can't blame Clow, though, for trying.
Exactly, and that's would I have preferred to see Catalyyyst go for it? Theoretically, yeah, but the Cabrakan doesn't have the same. I mean, I guess the ultimate provides a burst of damage, but Clow and the Hades is going to provide more burst. I like that somebody went for it, put it that way. But I agree with you that, yeah, could have been a little bit better, but not the case. Paul holding the red buff, not going to be able to pick up the purple. Still doing well in this lane. Not really caring about Michael Checo, despite the fact that he's a level and a half down, comparatively speaking, to the Cernunnos.
Kern just has so much pressure early on, and Paul, the main thing for him is just going to be holding his own. But Checo's already got the Iqbal, he's got the Fatalis online, so all he needs is one auto attack to try and chain that kiting gas pedal effect onto Paul. And as a Xbalanque, that can be incredibly difficult to deal with since you don't have an attack speed steroid in your kit.
And that's a little bit rough as we see these two teams. 13 on the clock, 2-1. Most Wanted trailing by about 2,000 gold here. We'll see how these teams continue on. Really, it's interesting how earlier today we got to see some interesting spicy picks in the mid lane. There's a brief technical problem with the replay, obviously, so we'll be back to it in a minute. But earlier today we saw some interesting selections in the mid lane, Hell and Aphrodite. And they were the focal point of the game because of how the game changed around these two interesting picks. Now, Hades is an interesting pick as well, and we're bringing him up because he's kind of rare to see, but he doesn't change the game the way those two did.
Hades is more of the, I want to provide a bit more utility to my team, because the Clow at this point, he needs to make the decision between whether he wants to be damage-oriented or more frontline-oriented. And unfortunately, I think that he was leaning more towards the damage-oriented side of things, but he can't really get away with it right now. And so he's opting for the Dynasty Plate Helm. He's building it to what I believe is going to potentially end up being a Warlocks. And
way too late, in my opinion.
But the helm could be useful.
Sure, but I mean, it's 13 minutes and he has rank 1. He's got to find, I think, 1,300 more gold after rank.
It might not necessarily be that item, though. So.
Yeah. There, okay.
I'm just thinking about like what Clow likes to build. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. No, I mean, because Warlock Sash at 13 minutes, realistically, you're finishing that Warlock Sash maybe 16, 17, right? And then you got to start stacking it. The game's over at 25 for the most part, average speaking. So, yeah, I'm glad to see Cloud not go for that Warlock Sash. Michael Checo gets pulled on in. Catalyyyst misses the stun. Unfortunately for him and his team, not able to get that pick, which would have been really valuable. Instead, just kind of watches as Elevate able to pick up the vision on the left side of the map thanks to the Oracles and continue on. Oh, big play. Paul from PC gets his ultimate forced out, has to dash back to safety on his own tower.
And that's the risky part about all this. But Marsleezy, he's waiting. Checo's getting baited.
Yeah, but Marsleezy pulls him away from where Paul was. Very sloppy gank coming out of Marsleezy right here. So he positions himself on the other side, pulls him further away from Paul. No way that Paul can actually interact with this team fight. Michael Checo lives to see another day, and his team going to start the Portal Demon on the right side. 3-3 as far as everybody's concerned. But right now, looking like a little bit better in Elevate's favor as they're able to line players up with that Chang'e ultimate. Landed on top of Kata, and DoctorL gets his proven worth right there. Picking up a kill after his successful setup with the ultimate.
They didn't even, I don't even think that Elevate were really looking for the Portal Demon. It was one of those objectives where if we can get this, great. But if not, can we bait the fight? Yes.
Exactly. And I mean, when it comes to Portal Demon, that's the perfect. Listen, if you pick up the Gold Fury and you have that fight and the other team somehow wins against the Gold, you feel miserable. That's a 2,500, 3K Gold. If somebody takes the Portal Demon from you at 15 minutes, you're like, okay. You're going to go do the Fire Giant at 15? All right, man. Enjoy it.
One thing that I have noticed, though, and even from the game that Most Wanted played earlier, is Catalyyyst is getting punished at, like, every single avenue. Anytime he steps even the slightest bit out of position, he's just falling more and more behind. And while it's not too much of a gap between him and Kenshin at the moment, this could definitely start snowballing in an unfavorable direction, considering that Khepri just needs his res to be more than viable. But for Cabrakan, if you're placing him into the support role, you're looking for that early aggression most of the time. You just want somebody who can chunk but also tank. And with Catalyyyst, I don't think that we've really gotten a chance to see that.
Right, it just hasn't really happened here. His build is standard support, and I like that. But he hasn't had that impact, like you said. The real control factor is what he's looking for here. And, well, there's only one kill. Doesn't look like, and that was really Clow's kill without any help. So it doesn't look like he's been able to provide much of the control either. 0-0-0 for the Hunter Xbalanque, which is a positive look here at 16 minutes. Just him being alive here, 3 levels down, is a little bit rough, but kind of where he wants to be. Marsleezy caught out one more time. Trying to hide behind the Gold Fury, but still in trouble. Clow, big ultimate. Pillar of Agony gonna collect 2 players, but nobody dead just yet. Michael Checo picks up the kill on Catalyyyst, and now Clow trying to find an exit up north. Delnyy following, jumps on top. Whack goes the stick, and down goes the Clow. Looking for more onto Jacob. He's gonna swing the hammer around, but before he slams it down, Delnyy puts him down 2-0-2 for the short lane Sun Wukong.
I'll be honest with you, it doesn't even look like Elevate just went through a team fight there. They're practically all full mana, full health.
Yeah, and this is the I laughed when this team did so well at LAN. I was talking to Toli, both on and off camera, about how, you know, teams turn into different things when they go to LAN. Some teams become miserable with each other, and we see teams explode and break up before they even leave hi-rez studios. I have seen that go down, but then we also see the opposite. And this team, like Elevate, they earned their spot in relegations throughout the course of the spring split. They were not one of the better teams, but their performance at LAN and how they're performing now, it's lopsided.
It's night and day.
There are 3 other teams in Elevate here in relegations right now, and it's looking really scary.
I think that Elevate are feeling very confident with themselves, especially. I mean, Checo's level 18 at 18 minutes.
Eesh.
He's literally farming a level per minute, and that's just absolutely insane for a Hunter to be able to do.
M-Dubs is a good team. I think Marsleezy is a strong jungler. Clow speaks for himself. He's hot and cold, but I like what he brings. Michael Checo doing whatever the hell he wants, quite literally in mid lane, just having a one-man party here. But I like these guys at Most Wanted. I like Paul from BC even. I think he's one of the stronger players, or was at his time. And Elevate are just walking. It's like it's a drive-through. They're here just to collect their wins and go home.
And I mean, they're about to collect this tower and potentially Clow's life, but Clow going to be able to escape just in time.
Sleazy looking for the flank, gets spotted out by Delnyy. Mid lane tower gets melted. Sleazy still afraid of Delnyy. Wukong just going to zone out a little bit. Now the jungle. Dash out of Kenshin going to be off the mark, but I think it's going to be the right side tower that we see Elevate shift to.
Elevate is just so far ahead already. It's most wanted. You can tell that they want a turtle. They want to try and buy time for Clow to get a little bit of damage online, for Paul to be Xbalanque, that late game hyper carry factor. But I'm not certain that he's going to have an opportunity to do so.
E-Staff, Ethereal Staff, will be the selection for our Hades player. Once upon a time, it was kind of like Warlock Sash Light. It has been changed, but the stats are rather similar. And it's basically just going to give you a bunch of health and make you a little bit tankier, in addition to providing some additional damage. Now, full retreat coming out from Elevate as Most Wanted pop the Xbalanque ultimate, but instead, it's going to be the turnaround. Catalyyyst is in trouble. Jacob goes deep, popping the thorns, and now Elevate going to wait it out. Dashing backwards, and oBoronic just gets Kata from afar.
That ultimate was absolutely devastating, and now Most Wanted on full retreat, trying to get away from the rest of Elevate. Paul, not even there. He's trying to get some split push going, but Delny's not having any of it.
Yeah, Paul's just trying to get some sort of farming situation going on. He realizes his opposing hunter's level 19. He's just trying to do anything, make himself relevant. At the moment, he's got Transcendence, Boots, and Chinsai. I don't like the build, I don't like the god choice, I don't like the selection, I don't like the lack of involvement in team fights. Paul for BC has been very successful in the past. I don't think this is at all telling of what he's capable of.
I actually don't have any issues with his build. I think that his itemization here is the proper choice. The Transcendence, you're kind of leaning, you're almost always going to lean towards the Transcendence when you pick Xbalanque, because he is still fairly mana dependent.
Sure.
And especially against a hunter like Kern, where you can expect yourself to be using your escape more often than not in a defensive manner.
I'll buy that.
You kind of want to anticipate the mana burnage there, but the Chinsai's third item, I think that the main reasoning behind this is because when your team is so far behind, you just need damage.
Right.
Just in case, you never know, maybe I secure the last hit and get a passive stack, or my team can turn a team fight because I'm actually chipping away at somebody's health. So I can respect the build choice. The only issue I really have with Paul right now is that he's not playing more aggressive carries. And that has kind of just always been Paul's playstyle, is to play the aggressive carry. And that's what he made a name for himself on originally, was that aggressive hunter. But here on a Xbalanque where he's forced back, it's just unfair in a way that he doesn't really get to display whether or not he still has the same Paul.
I always say, you know, give your team the tools necessary to win the game. And you know, if Paul is going to be playing aggressive hunters and that's what wins, don't give him a Xbalanque, right? Give him something he can actually do something with. Where's the on her at? Clow getting pushed back. Oh, he's going to get jumped on. But he'll save himself with the Aegis and the Beads combination. Mid lane Phoenix still the target. And Michael Checo picks up Love Potion number 9, putting Catalyyyst down in the dirt. Jacob could be next if all goes well for elevating their fans. Finding the root, big play out of Kenshin. And here's Clow. Nice ultimate, but Michael Checo still doing it. You see this, Chang'e?
Goodbye, Paul.
Oh, what up, dude? Just waiting around the corner.
Pushed all the way back by the Chang'e. DoctorL did not let Paul back, and so they ended up in that awkward dance-off engagement, and now it's just looking like Elevate's game, really.
I mean, it has for a while. 12-1, 23-23 on the clock. Elevate leading by about, oh, they're just going for it, Taco. 75% on the Titan. Most Wanted trying to fight into it. Don't think they're going to be rather successful here. Halfway down is the Titan. 25% now. And this one could be curtains. Chang'e gets a kill, and there's his answered back. Marsleazy gets credit for it, but the Titan is the one falling, and ain't nobody answering back on that one. 13-2. Somebody wants to escape, and it's not going to be Elevate. Most Wanted fall down for the second time today. Not a good look.
It's just really unfortunate for Most Wanted. They just haven't really been able to find their synergy, it seems like, with this draft that they put together, or the roster, I should say, excuse me, that they put together for relegations. And I think that a lot of it is you've got members that want to do one thing and then members that want to do another. You've got Clow, who's trying to be, you know, let me dive in, play aggro Hades, but then you've got your aggro support player, Catalyyyst on Cabrakan, is just like, I'm going to hang back here underneath the tower, man. So it's just really awkward all around trying to watch them form one unit.
Yeah, that team's going to have to spend some more time in the kiln to really bake up and get together. Team did that at LAN, though, like we said a number of times. Elevate. A lot of good plays coming out from these guys, pretty much from all members of the team, really making this win come together. It was about the team for me here. Nobody in particular. Michael Checo, I guess, winds up being the de facto, as he's kind of the star here. Big numbers, big damage, big hunter, big name.
And Checo was just on a complete rampage. As soon as he finished that Fatalis, all he wanted to do was try and box. He didn't care if he was tanking towers, Phoenix's player damage. He just wanted to go in.
I like that he keeps that passive in mind, constantly trying to close the gap, get himself nice up and close personal, trying to find those the amplified basics when you're in melee range with that whatever his weapon is called, and find that passive damage. And he's happy to just be a hunter. And look for the objectives as well. 10-1 at that moment in time, winds up going even higher with this kill onto Paul from PC. As we take a look at the rest of the day, you can see Elevate. They wind up with 2 wins, unfortunately for Most Wanted, 2 losses. Really rough stuff for them. Starboys toppled them earlier in the day. Elevate, of course, just now taking the W.
And this is going to be so important as it plays out later on, because it's starting to look like there's some teams that are pulling away, and so it could possibly be Starboys, and I don't know. I mean, Elevate are looking really good right now.
Yeah, Elevate look really hot. We're going to continue with the North American SCL relegation action in just a few.